Hi, I'm Kendra with Where's the Moon Astrology, and today I am talking about Sun square Mars in the birth chart. So, with Sun square Mars, first we want to get familiar with the energy of the Sun and the energy of Mars. The Sun is going to be your conscious will, your ego expression. This is where you're consciously directing your attention, where you're consciously, the traits that you're consciously expressing, the traits that you take pride in, um, your vibrant personality, where you're very consciously directing your energy. Mars, however, this is your fighting energy. This is how you assert yourself. This is how you go about fighting. This is how you are sexually and how you assert yourself in any situation or go about getting what you want. I also want to make a quick distinction between Mars and the moon because Mars does have to do with anger expression. So, it can get kind of mixed up with the moon being the emotional expression. So, here's how I would distinguish these energies. Um, if you're in a situation that has the potential to make you very angry, if you're around people that you don't know very well and are not comfortable really expressing yourself around, you might behave from your ascendant sign because this is kind of the mask you wear. This is, um, what the image that you're projecting, sort of. If it's an affront to your pride and you feel comfortable expressing that ego, then it would be the Sun. But if you're around people that you feel very comfortable around and you can express yourself emotionally, you can really express that anger, then that is going to be the moon that comes into play. You're going to be expressing that anger through your moon sign. The difference that I draw, the distinguishment that I make between the moon and Mars is that, the moon is your instinctual emotional reactions. So when this thing first happens, you're going to be reacting from the moon. You're not going to really have time to react from anything else. Mars, however, this is going to be how you kind of react after you've taken a step back and you are deciding how to handle the situation. So, for instance, say you have the moon in Cancer and Mars in Aries. The moon in Cancer might react to the situation kind of tearfully, passively, perhaps even passive aggressively. But after you've had a time to sit back and take a look at the situation and decide how you're going to handle it, you're going to be handling it from Mars and Aries because Mars is a strategist. Mars is the warrior. So this is going to be more about how you are, how you decide to proceed more consciously than, that instinctual emotional reaction that you have at first. So that's going to be the distinction. I just wanted to make that distinction because people can get very confused about what energy is actually coming into play at different times. So I definitely say in that first moment when something happens, you're reacting more from your moon sign. Mars, Sun square Mars. The square entails tension. It entails really irreconcilable differences between these two planets. Um, so what happens with the square is that the pressure builds. There's a lot of pressure between these two planets, and it just tends to build and build and build. And usually, what is not given expression during this buildup of tension is the outer planet. So in this case, that would be Mars. So Mars is not being given expression. It's not being given expression, and the tension is building, and the tension is building. And what happens is because you're not giving it conscious expression, it can come out in full force in like a blow up. It can be very nasty and explosive when it does come out because it hasn't been given conscious expression and it's not being given conscious expression, but it still needs to be expressed. So it comes out explosively after being denied for so long. That's what happens when you repress something. It comes out in different ways. So say your sun is in Aries, and your Mars is in Cancer. That's actually my Mars and Sun sign. However, I don't have the square. I don't quite have that aspect. But say your Sun is in Aries, you are outwardly projecting this very confident personality, um, very assertive, very direct. But Mars in Cancer is not being given expression. So the maybe higher vibration of Mars in Cancer, it's really not a very good placement for Mars to begin with. But let's just say Mars in Cancer has this higher vibration. You would maybe express that by being very protective of the people you love, very protective of your home environment. By approaching conflict, Mars being how you address conflict and how you get what you want, approaching conflict with emotional honesty and some kind of vulnerability. That would be maybe the higher expression of Mars in Cancer. The lower expression would be passive aggressive manipulation, emotional manipulation, um, even being very violent. Mars in Cancer. Again, I have this Mars placement, so if you're Mars in Cancer, don't get too mad at me. So what would happen here is that you're denying this Mars in Cancer, this emotional vulnerability. You're not approaching conflict from that place of emotional vulnerability that uh, Mars in Cancer would excel in. So what's happening is you're just projecting this confident front, and the tension is building, and it's building, and it's building, and then suddenly Mars in Cancer has to express. So it expresses in the nastiest, most explosive way possible. So you would be vindictive, jealous, manipulative, emotional, um, just, rage crying. That's what I would think of when I think of Sun in Aries square Mars in Cancer. And it would seem very out of character to anybody who knows you and only sees this Sun in Aries that you're projecting. But it is very much a part of you. And what's happening is that you're just not giving it conscious expression. So it's just coming out in the most low vibe, nasty way possible. So the way to kind of work with the energy of a Sun square Mars is to give both of these conscious expression. Give your Mars conscious expression. Approach problems with emotional vulnerability. Protect the things that are important to you on an emotional level. So protect your family, protect your home environment. Um, give Mars conscious expression. Don't let it come out in this low vibe, emotionally manipulative, vindictive way that is typical of Mars and Cancer and really all water Mars. But you want to give it conscious expression and express it in the most positive way possible. And the square entails that it's going to feel like kind of a threat. Aries does not like to be vulnerable. Aries likes to be confident, likes to be assertive. That is why you're repressing the traits of Mars in Cancer, because you don't like that emotional vulnerability. You don't like identifying with the more soft spoken emotional traits of Cancer, um, for any reason. So that Mars in Cancer is going to feel very unfamiliar to you. You're not going to like expressing it, but it still needs to be expressed. So it's something that you really have to get comfortable with. You really have to understand that this is a real part of you, whether you choose to accept it or not. And it's something that other people can see in you too. So you're not hiding it from anybody just because you're not expressing it um, in a conscious, positive way. So you're going to have to accept that this is a part of you. This is something that needs to be expressed, and choose to express it consciously in the most positive way possible. That's the only way to really work with these hard aspects. Anyway, that is the end of my Sun square Mars video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I did want to remind you that I have chart readings available. I have birth chart readings, relationship readings, individual planetary report readings, and actually today I'm going to be adding more mini reading types. So keep an eye out for that. I'm leaving a link in the description of this video for you to check those out. Anyway, again, I really hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day.